Hey mamas, welcome back for day number 2 of the 5 days to a feel good schedule challenge. Remember that each day builds on the previous one. So if you haven't gone back and watched day 1 yet, make sure you do that. And then there's also the intro video that kind of explains everything that we're going to be doing. So make sure that you've checked out the first 2 videos before you start on this one, or you're probably going to feel a little lost. As you can see, you're seeing my actual personal calendar here. And we got to this point yesterday. So if you don't know what all this is going on, or you can't like decipher this, you definitely want to make sure you go back and watch day number 1. So starting today on day number 2, we're talking all about deadlines. So you can see here, this is just my regular daily work schedule. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I take client calls. On the first Friday of the month, I take collaboration calls for our joint venture webinars or any of that type of stuff. I schedule my social media on the weekends, and I also have my categories in here: my mommy-daughter day, my personal day, my marriage day, those things that I've already blocked off through my whole year so that I know that I do not overstep into my self-care, my role as a mom, and my role as a wife. So today, like I said, we're going to work on deadlines. And the unique thing about today is we're going to work backwards on our deadlines. And a lot of people kind of don't understand why you would work backwards from a deadline. They just say, okay, I know that June 3rd, I'm going to be doing this, so I'm just going to go from now until June 3rd. Well, if you go backwards and you reverse plan, you are going to see it's going to be broken down into so much smaller steps. You're going to be able to see what you need to do immediately before the first thing, and then immediately before that, and then immediately before that. It's like going, instead of going from 10, 9, 8, 7, you're actually going to be going 10, 9.9, 9.8, 9.7. And so those small little details will help you really account for your time. And they're also going to make sure you don't miss anything. Like, I'm sure if you're like me, you watch the crap out of HGTV, and you've seen those episodes where they totally forgot to order the flooring. And so their whole project is derailed. They can't install the cabinets and they can't install the backsplash or whatever because their first piece that has to go in either didn't get there on time or somebody didn't account for all the details. So when you plan backwards, you actually make sure that you plan for all those details and you account for everything. And it's really actually hard to miss a detail when you do that. And you know what's funny is I actually thought I was really cool making this up and like came up with this whole new novel idea, and I was sharing this with my husband, and you know, he is in the Army, and he's like, babe, this is how we plan our missions. So if you still think this is kind of sounds a little weird, this is the way the Army plans every mission. Here I am thinking I was like all cool making it up, but no, it's actually a thing, I guess. But the other thing that I want to remind you before we dive into actually showing you how to do this is that we're mompreneurs. We're not just entrepreneurs. We're not just solopreneurs. We're not creatives, which we may be, but we fall into our own unique category of mompreneur, which means that we have little ones and we have a family. And so when we're thinking about these huge business deadlines, we need to cut ourselves some slack and we need to give ourselves some grace. I'm just going to be like straight up real with you. So if something would have taken you 2 weeks before baby, maybe it takes you 4 or 5 weeks now, but that's okay because that's what this whole feel good schedule is about, is finding the time to do it right for your business and to do it right for your family so that at the end of the day, you're feeling proud and you're not feeling mom guilt or you're not feeling business owner guilt. Okay? So let's get started with the demonstration as I scratch my eye. All right, so like I said, what you're seeing here is my actual work calendar, okay? And then here I'm gonna freak you out again because I'm gonna throw on my launch calendar. As you can see, I'm in September of 2016. I chose Q3 to kind of show you because if you remember from yesterday, if we go into August, I have this huge weekend in the middle of the quarter that I'm choosing to take off because it's my husband and my daughter's birthday. And I also have, you know, my See, it says hubby's B-Day right there. I have my personal day. I still have my 2 mommy-daughter days that take place during my launch. So if I hadn't have already laid these out, like, which is what we did in day 1, I would be running through all of that trying to launch. So I'm showing you quarter 3 because it's already something where I have a lot of my family time. And I don't want to say it's like interrupting my business, but it's something that is a priority to me, and I want to make sure that I am feeling satisfied in my role as mom and wife. And so I've taken that time off. But how can I build my business around that, and how can I schedule around that? So that's what I'm going to show you today. So here is my regular calendar for September. And if you're ready to freak out, here's my launch calendar. And here are all the details of my launch. Okay, so that's getting mighty full, isn't it? But this is where I'm going to get you guys today. Okay, so let me turn all of this off, and we're just going to start. Oh, hang on, turn this off. I don't know why it's not going on. There we go. And turn this one off. Okay, so right now we are focusing strictly on deadlines. And as you can see, in September 14th through the 21st is going to be my quarter 3 launch. My doors will open, or my cart will open on the 14th, and the cart closes on the 21st. So let me go ahead and turn on my tasks so you can see that too. All right, I want you guys to see these are all the tasks that I've outlined that have to go into my launch. Now, I wouldn't know any of these if I hadn't worked backwards. So I'm going to show you how I get from knowing that I'm launching on the 14th of September to this whole list of tasks to where they fall on the calendar. Okay? So if launching on between the 14th and the 21st is step number 10, then I know, okay, what do I have to do to launch? Well, I have to have an email sequence to be able to launch. Okay, I have to send out my educational emails, my marketing emails, my solution emails, all of those things have to go out. And so when am I going to plan that? I'm going to have that take place. Of course, we have those 5 or 10 or however many emails you send on the day your actual cart closes. So we know those have to go out. Oh, let me close that so that doesn't bother our video. Okay, so we know those have to go out. So I'm going to send 3 on the day my cart closes, okay? And then I try not to be like crazy annoying, so I'm not going to send one every day. I'm going to back up maybe to the 19th or the 18th. My normal newsletter goes out on Sundays, so I'll go to the 18th. I'll send one there, okay? And then my normal newsletter also goes out on the 11th, which is a Sunday, so I'll make sure that that's kind of a teaser one of what's coming up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then several in here. Let's say I end up with 8 launch emails, okay? So that's where I go. That's where 8 launch emails goes on the list, okay? I know I'm gonna wanna do a couple webinars and a couple of giveaways because my email sequence is gonna be useless if it's not being sent to anybody. So I have to do some list building things, okay? So, for my launch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plan webinar 2 earlier in the month on a Saturday because us moms, we need to have we can't just do a webinar on lunch on a Wednesday because it doesn't work for us that way. So we have to have the time to actually sit and watch the webinar. Okay, so if I'm making a webinar go live on this Saturday, what goes into a webinar? Okay, well, there's the promotion images that go on your chosen social media. There's also the email announcements that go out. So I'm going to email my newsletter on Sunday like I always do. Maybe another reminder on Wednesday, a reminder on Friday, and then a couple of emails that go out the day of. So I'm going to say 5 webinar email 2s, or 5 emails for webinar 2. I also need a Facebook image for webinar 2. I need an Instagram image for webinar 2. I need a Pinterest image for webinar 2. So again, backwards planning has me writing out everything that I need. Okay, so let's take it back. I'm also going to do a giveaway, okay, for list building. So the giveaway I'm going to announce right before the webinar. but then I have to actually run the giveaway, but then I have to promote my webinar. So again, how are we going to account for all of these things, right? Okay, there's webinar 1. I'm also going to have 2 weeks before webinar 2 because again, I'm trying not to be annoying and I'm not going to do a webinar every week and like blast out my list, right? So I alternate webinar, giveaway, webinar, giveaway. Actually, I think it goes giveaway, webinar, but you see what I'm saying. So based on the model I used for webinar 2, I'm going to do the same amount of emails for webinar 1. I'm going to promo the webinar the week before with my images, and I'm going to go ahead and do my giveaway. All right. And so that first giveaway brings us all the way back here to July 24th. So again, if we hadn't reversed planned, where would we have ended up? We would have ended up in knowing that we wanted to launch on September 14th, and it would be August 14th or August 20th, and we would be trying to do all of this stuff in a much shorter time frame. Okay. Now, we know what we have to do. Where do we get the time to actually do that? This is where the launch details calendar comes in. You can see that actually brings us back to July 5th. So I am starting a September 14th launch. I am starting that on July 5th. This is where I'm doing blog posts 1 and 2, newsletters 1, 2, and 3. Getting all of this stuff. I'm making all of my promo images back here on July 21st. Here's newsletter 5. All of this stuff gets done and it gets put into my time slots of where I have to work. Now, let me add on my regular work calendar here. And you can see I'm still taking client calls during this time. I'm still doing all of the stuff that I have to do for my business. But because I know I already create content on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I know exactly what content I'm creating that day. I'm creating blog post 11 and 12 on August 9th, Tuesday. And I'm creating my slideshow for webinar 1 on August 11th, which is a Thursday. And so if I hadn't have done all of this, I wouldn't have this plan in place, right? So let me turn this back off. Now, the huge key to knowing where all of the stuff in pink goes that you see is knowing how long everything takes you to do. I know that I have 4 hours of content creation time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I know that a blog post takes me 2 hours. So I know that I can knock out 2 blog posts on a content creation day. Webinar emails, I know that's going to take me all the time. Okay, so that is what we're going to get into tomorrow, is assigning time to these tasks, because once we know how long they take, we can know where they fit in our schedule. And let me turn this back on to remind you here. Okay, look, I still have my personal day. No work is going on that day. The only thing that's going on is giveaway 2, but that's on automatic, right? I still have hubby's birthday, and I'm still taking this whole weekend off. Webinar 2 email, that will be on automatic. That will be scheduled ahead of time right here on the 23rd, so almost a whole week ahead. Now, I wouldn't be able to take this entire weekend off, spend time with my family, feel good about my schedule if I hadn't already done this. So remember, we want to do day 1's video, we want to do day 2's video, we want to do these in order so that we know as we're building our schedule that it's something that we can feel good about continuously. All right, so like I said, tomorrow I'm going to teach you guys about, now we know where all this, or where we need to be doing these things, but how do we know where they go? Because we have to assign the time it takes to do them, and we have to find out where they fit. So I will see you on day 3. Thanks, guys.